In a few days, I will be heading to the Vancouver police station to hand deliver a petition that demands they fire one of their officers, Constable Frederic Buckman. But first, the public needs to watch this report highlighting a history of this officer's disgraceful conduct to fully understand why they should sign and share this petition before I do. Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News, and last I checked, over 15,000 of you have already gone to our website called fireofficerbuckman.com to sign our petition demanding that the VPD fire Constable Frederic Buckman. Most of you did so because you were appalled to see her conduct on March 31st during a Transgender Day of Visibility protest in Vancouver. While witnessing child protection activist Chris, also known as Billboard Chris, be mobbed and attacked by trans activists, Constable Buckman grinned the entire time and then later blamed Elston, who had been protesting peacefully, for the attack.
Excuse me, did you just say he came here to incite violence by forcing his opinion on people?
Yeah. Yes.
You think he came here to incite violence because they got offended by his sign?
When you
What
talk
is
to
wrong with
someone
you?
and scream at someone and
He
put
didn't
your
scream
face,
at all.
Yes,
he
did.
didn't. They put their face in his face. What is
Yes.
wrong with
Okay.
you?
Okay.
But today, I bring you an interview with a woman named Meredith Dan, who will explain in more detail how that lack of empathy you just observed of Buckman on the job isn't anything new. In fact, Dan will detail not one, but two additional incidents where she crossed paths with Buckman and then reported the officer for her conduct. The first and most heinous of the two is one that retired Judge Carol Baird Ellen has already found Constable Buckman to have committed discreditable conduct, neglect of duty, discourtesy, and abuse of authority for. It involves what took place after the well-loved and talented Glenn Rebick died from an accidental overdose, and Buckman entered Rebick's mother's home to inform her of the worst possible news any parent could ever receive.
So Glenn went out on June 21st for Go Skate Day. He was a legendary Vancouver skateboarder, and it was his favorite day of the year, even above Christmas and his birthday. He didn't come home the Saturday, and which I thought was odd. He always would call, and then he didn't come home Sunday. I called around to all of his friends, and nobody had seen him, so I had done a missing persons. Missing persons had come into my home earlier on the Tuesday when they delivered the news, and had come and looked through his social media. And there were 5 officers that had come to, and they treated me with complete respect, compassion, and understanding for my situation. They left, and a couple of hours later, Frederic Buckman and her partner and victim services came to my door. When they came to my door, I didn't know what was going on. And she came in, she walked straight into my apartment, put her hands on her waist, without any preface. "Miss Dan, you might want to sit down. Miss Dan, we have some bad news." She walked in and said, "First of all, Glenn is dead." My sister and my niece were there with me. And my sister looked up at her and said, "What the F is second of all?" At the time that she said it, her partner and the lady from Victim Services, their face just, like they were in shock that she said it like that. I fell to my knees, and I was like, a lot of it is a blur, but I did get up and I yelled at her that she needed to watch Grey's Anatomy, because season 12, episode 4, Meredith Grey, she is teaching the interns on how to deliver the news.
When you walk into a room to tell someone that their loved one has died, it's more than just a list of bullet points you've memorized. Yours is the face they will remember for the rest of their life.
You're the face that has changed that person's life forever. She's the face that changed my life forever. It took her 14 minutes from the time she left her car, came into my home, told me, first of all, Glenn is dead, and was back in her car. 14 minutes. There was no compassion. There was no empathy. In the investigative report, her statement said that she was uncomfortable and that she blamed me. She said that I answered the door with hostility and aggression. And she felt uncomfortable because my apartment was small and it was only the second time she delivered the news. I can't believe that she focused so much on how uncomfortable she was when she delivered the news in such a heinous way about my only child being dead.
It's hard to imagine such callous behavior from an officer telling a woman her only child is gone, isn't it? And did you notice a pattern here? Just like when Buckman pushed the blame on Chris Elston for being attacked after failing to adequately protect him, Buckman is defending her actions here by placing the blame on this mother. Buckman went as far as to bring forth a petition seeking to quash the retired provincial court judge's decision and to have Dan's complaint dismissed. But just last month, Justice J.A. Power, who presided over that petition, while finding some problems with the former judge's investigation into Meredith Dan's complaint, still denied Buckman's petition to quash it. But remember I said Meredith had 2 unfortunate dealings with Officer Buckman? Well, Meredith says she wasn't surprised at all to see Constable Buckman coldly grinning from ear to ear as a man got mobbed and thrown to the ground because of this.
It didn't shock me at all because I have not only had that one interaction with her, I interacted with her at a car accident less than a year after she told me my son was dead. And at that car accident, my girlfriend was had first aid and she was attending to one of the people who were there. And when Officer Buckman approached the car, she asked my friend, who is she and what is she doing there? Like, not even, like with any compassion that the poor girl, the airbags had deployed, the poor girl was in shock. They had just gotten a car accident and she was giving first aid to assist. So it didn't shock me when I saw and found out that she has done this again and that her behavior is still condoned by the Vancouver City Police.
This is scary. Constable Buckman is someone with a gun and in a position of authority over citizens who trust that if the Vancouver Police Department is allowing her to wear that badge, then she won't be laughing at them when they're being assaulted or treating them without dignity when they are being hurt or grieving the life of a loved one. That's why we're asking you to grab another device or open up another tab on the device you're on and go to fireofficerbuckman.com to sign and share our petition. But since I didn't want to put words into Meredith's mouth about why she also supports this petition, here is what she said about why she wants Buckman gone and what she'd like to see in the future from the VPD.
In the beginning, I wasn't looking for her life to change. I wasn't looking for anything. And what I was looking for was her to apologize the way that she delivered the news, because Glenn and I deserved more respect in that moment. I was looking for her to be accountable for her actions and understand that that wasn't appropriate. And I was looking for her to want to be a better police officer. When she turned it around on me, the gloves came off. And that's when I decided I want her fired. I don't believe a person like her should be in charge of our safety in Vancouver if she doesn't have any ability to see things the way she saw that incident happened at the rally. Yes, so upon all of my research with going through this complaint process, I found out that the Vancouver Police Department does not have any culturally and safe or humility training with regards to Indigenous people. The overpopulation and over-representation of Indigenous people in Vancouver should have training to understand how colonization has affected Indigenous people, how the residential school has affected us, as well as the intergenerational trauma that still takes place. And I think that there should be mandatory training for the whole VPD to understand this and understand why perhaps there's such a large amount of people, Indigenous people, in the downtown east side from the trauma caused from colonization, but not knowing or not understanding why they will continue to treat us with this horrific behavior. Thank you so much for covering your story. I just want to get some justice for Glenn, because Glenn and I both deserve respect in that moment. And no mother should ever, ever have to hear that her child had died in such a horrible way.
The VPD has a detailed statement up dated April 1st about their investigation into the assaults that occurred by trans rights activists on March 31st, but they haven't responded to my inquiries seeking more information. I asked them, what is the latest status of that investigation? Have they spoken to the people of interest, one of whom I've since learned goes by the name of Brooklyn Kelly? Also, what type of culture and humility training do their officers take? And will Constable Buckman be disciplined for any of the incidents you've learned about in this report? It's concerning that the VPD may be ignoring me, but it will speak volumes if they ignore the thousands of you who go to fireofficerbuckman.com and sign that petition. Demand the VPD do right by Meredith and Billboard Chris and whoever else this officer may have treated this way. Go to fireofficerbuckman.com.